Good morning. Happy Labor Day. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 1264. I feel it's appropriate being Labor Day. That's kind of like the dawning of fall. It's like the end of summer, which means fall is here. So I figured, hey, let's rock some Chicago Bears. The intention when I went to bed last night was my alarm was set, and I actually set my alarm for the wrong time. For some reason, I set my alarm for 5 p.m., but I intended to wake up at 5 a.m. or 5:30 a.m. And get to work, do a 7 o'clock show here on Hobby Evolution, do some shipping beforehand, and do some shipping afterhand. Is that a word? Afterhand? Beforehand and afterhand. But I woke up, I think at 5:30 and decided I'm still pretty tired. I was up after midnight on Saturday, which is a rarity after the Pearl Jam show. So I'll talk about Pearl Jam and in my ventures to Wrigley over the weekend. So I was tired. And decided it's Labor Day. It's a good excuse to sleep in. So here we are. There was something else I wanted to touch on, but I forget. But anyway, it was a fun weekend. Here I am. Happy Labor Day, Monday. It's going to be a laboring Labor Day because I was out. I was able to get some shipping done Saturday morning. I headed out around in the noon hour on Saturday to head down, check into my hotel, and then get down to Wrigley on Saturday evening. Sunday, I was really tired. I drank some beers on Saturday night. I think more so it wasn't the beers that had me tired yesterday. More so it was the staying up after midnight that had me tired. So I didn't do any shipping yesterday, which is unusual. Usually I do some shipping, but I didn't do any shipping yesterday. I'm like, I'm just going to wait till tomorrow. But I did do some listing. I listed some of the Score a Treat cards. A few have sold already. I think the Jaden Daniels sold. I only listed 50. I separated them pumpkins and bats because there's two different parallels. So the pumpkin parallels were listed yesterday. They are not in Card Dealer Pro. So I did have to manually type everything in. I still use Card Dealer Pro to upload and use their template, just so it's on par with all of my other listings. But I did have to do a lot of typing. I've got the bats. The bat parallels are scanned in. That's where the Marvin Harrison Jr. is. And there's some other ones in there. So I'll get those listed today. 99centcards.com, my eBay store. Buy 7 or more, you'll save 25% off at checkout. A lot of these Score a Treat football cards are 99 cents with free shipping. So check that out. The stars are, I think, $1.75. Some of the rookies, most of the rookies are $1.75. Some of the rookies are $2 or $2.50. But that's the priciest Score a Treat football card. So check those out. Listed some of the Pearl Jam posters that I bought over the weekend. So those are in my eBay store. Also, one of those has already sold. So check out my eBay store, 99centcards.com. Buy 7 or more items at regular price, and you can save 25% off at checkout. So speaking of eBay, I was since I was out of town, and I haven't been listing the last few days like higher end stuff in for my store. So I was thinking my weekend would be down. I still Saturday and Sunday I still exceeded my target. So this has been, I think there's only one out of the last like 35, 36 days that I've been below my target sales goal. Yesterday was good. Kind of a slower start today, but it is 8 o'clock in the morning on a holiday. So I think I've had decent success on Labor Day. I'd have to go back and look at my sales spreadsheet to see how Labor Day has done. I'm going to send some offers right now since we're talking about eBay. I had a little scare. Speaking of eBay, I had a little scare yesterday. Somebody had sent me a direct message on Twitter asking about the different different store subscriptions, and they were like, I have, I don't know how many listings or whatever, but I don't want 100,000. Like, how much is 50,000? And he gave like the prices, and I'm like, where are these prices coming from? Because these aren't, like, I get 60,000 listings and I pay $60 a month. So I just said, like, I get 60,000 listings a month and I pay $60. It's the premium store subscription. So then I went to eBay and I wanted to look up to see where he would have got those numbers from. So he was using the, like, the regular numbers, like 10,000 listings for $60. But there's also along with that, you get 50,000 additional in select categories. However, the first page I went to, that wasn't mentioned anywhere. I'm like, oh, well, this is alarming. So I went to another page again under the benefits, 50,000 in select categories not listed. I'm like, shit, this is not good. Is this a change? And it wouldn't surprise me if they did take that away. I hope they don't, but they very well could. So I checked my eBay, and I know that when they do make changes like this, you're grandfathered in. Like, if you have been getting those 50,000, they're not going to take them away, at least in the past. That's how they've handled things. So I checked, everything's on the up and up in my store. I think I went to Google, instead of using the eBay help menu, I actually Googled it, and which took me to an eBay page. And then on that page, and it was on the eBay website, so it's a live, it's not something from like 2008. That did notate the 50,000 extra listings in select categories. So crisis averted. The eBay help is a real pain in the ass. It's when you're looking at eBay store benefits and fees, it takes you like 5 different pages to get everything. Like, they don't have like one page where it lists everything. You've got to go, well, this isn't what I need. So, and the funny thing is, I wish I would do another one of these, but a few years ago, I signed up for, you can do these Zoom meetings with eBay if you're invited. And they'll give you like $100 Visa gift card. So I signed. I'm like, yeah. And the funny thing was, I was still working my office job, and I did this Zoom call during the workday. I was quiet quitting at that time. And so I did this Zoom call with eBay. It was work from home, so I could get away with it. So I did the Zoom call, and it was about the eBay help menu. And it's like, I never use, and I'm thinking to myself, I never use the eBay help menu. Like, I am not a good candidate for them. And I really didn't have much to say. Obviously I answered the questions and, gave as much feedback as I could. But now in hindsight, I wish I could tell them, well, here's an example of how you can improve your help menu. It's a real pain in the ass to find different things. And I mean, even they have streamlined, I will credit them in their help menu on eBay. They have streamlined the feedback, just feedback in general, feedback removal, where again, you would have to go to like 5 or 6 different pages to find where you can remove feedback. Now it's like the first page, if you just type in feedback removal, like a little button pops up and you can just click that and it takes you right there. So they have improved that. Hopefully they'll improve the eBay store benefits and fees and those pages, consolidate it into one where it's here you go. You don't have to click around to 7 different pages to find all of the information that you need. So that was a little scare last night. I was when I discovered the page where it finally said the 50,000 still exists, I was waiting for pizza. I was bad on my diet this weekend, and probably will be again today because I'll eat leftovers. But my wife worked. She's been like inundated with paperwork, and she's trying to digitize. Is that the word? Digitize her files. And so she had somebody helping her. She formerly worked with the company, did some clerical work. So they were slamming hard yesterday on paperwork. So my wife comes home, she's exhausted. She's like, what do you want for dinner? Never say you look tired. I learned that early on in our relationship. I'm like, I don't know, what do you want? And she's like, I want a thin crust pizza from Rosati's. And I'm like, yeah, I am real like in that really hit the spot for me because I was in Chicago and Saturday, and I really wanted some deep dish. I was in the mood for deep dish on Saturday. I haven't probably since Cubs convention, probably the last time I had a deep dish. And I am not like, I don't think there's a better style of pizza. They're all awesome. All pizza is great. When it comes to Chicago style, there's two. Chicagoans will tell you tavern style is Chicago style. They will deep dish. They don't claim deep dish. Deep dish is what people outside of Chicago thinks Chicago pizza is. I like them both. Sometimes I would prefer a deep dish. Sometimes I would prefer tavern style. And so Saturday I was in the mood for deep dish. Timing just didn't work out. But I still had, I want some pizza. I want some pizza in my life. So when my wife said Rosati's, I'm like, yes. Rosati's does have a good deep dish. But last night I wasn't in the mood for deep dish. I was Saturday, but not Sunday. And I think, and we don't get Rosati's often. Rosati's is my wife. Like if we do pizza, my wife wants Rosati's. If I order pizza, I mean, I'm getting like Casey's, taco pizza. What else have I've been ordering? What have I? Jets. I really love Jets. So that's kind of what I go. Jets is Detroit style. Casey's is Midwest cornfields and Busch Light style. So the one thing, and I knew this as I was ordering, so I put the order in. My wife's, she's easy, just thin crust cheese. Thin crust cheese, that's easy. What do I want? Oh, I don't know. I don't want thin crust, but I don't want deep dish. Well, the only other option from Rosati's is double dough, and I don't like their double dough. I should have went thin crust. I went classic combo, which is like it's basically Supreme. And it's on the double dough. It gets the job done, but it's not my favorite. So I need to remember that if I want Rosati's, I either go thin crust or deep dish, because double dough, just not doesn't do it for me. So that's what we had for dinner last night. I'm going to crush it again today because I'm going to eat leftover pizza for lunch. And then today's a holiday. Holidays and vacations don't count when you're trying to eat healthy and on diets and stuff. So I had, speaking of food, Saturday, I met Andy, our friend Andy, in the chat. And I didn't realize this until I sat at the table with him and his friend. He's like, we've never met in person. But I feel like there's many in the chat where we've never met in person. But I feel like if I met you at a bar, I would be like, this is the first time we've met. It just doesn't feel like we know each other. So first time I met in person, Andy, awesome dude. And so he had sent me a message. I was actually in the Uber on the way down on Saturday afternoon, and he's like, "Hey, do you have any plans?" I'm like, "No." Um, like a bunch of my Club 400 friends ended up not coming to the show on Saturday, so I was kind of just um, riding solo for all night. So I'm like, no, I don't have anything going on. He's like, all right. So we communicated. He's like, we're at Yaxie's, which is, and he's never been to Yaxie's. Yaxie's is like my pregame for Cubs games. That's my place for pregame now. I like it because it's a large place. If you get there at the right time, it's easy to find a table. Now, if we would have been there like 30 minutes later, we wouldn't have gotten a table. But they got a table. I met them. The wings are great. So I had some wings. We had some beers, and then we went into the show. So I had some wings on Saturday, pizza on Sunday. So tomorrow we've got to tomorrow I've got to get back on the train. Speaking of that, we'll get to the chat here in a second. But speaking of that, I've been really high on Rise mushroom coffee. So I'm going to tell you something. I've been saying, oh, order from Amazon. Order from Amazon. Don't order from Amazon. I found out something Saturday morning after Hobby Evolution. I went upstairs and I had my last batch of mushroom coffee. There was just a little bit left, so I opened what I bought, some 2 bags of new mushroom coffee, and Rise, like always. And I buy them from different sellers, which that should have been my first red flag, because the previous sellers, because I go into my Prime menu, like buy this again, and it's not there. It's like that should have raised a red flag, but it never did. It's like, oh, they're probably just out of stock. So I open up the new package and I'm like, this doesn't look right. It's very light. Almost looks like sugar. With some like brown speckles in it. And the previous that I had was brown. And I think Rise, and now I don't know, like, what is real Rise mushroom coffee supposed to look like? I'm assuming brown. So I dumped the old stuff in, I stirred up. I'm like, oh, maybe it's just a weird batch. I look at it's like, well, the bag does look different. Like everything is the same, but it has like a different color to it. Just, it looks off. I don't think anything of it. Stir it up. I didn't even put cream in it. And I take my first sip and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Didn't taste like any of the mushroom coffee I've had in the past. Just had like no taste. Take another sip. No, this is terrible. So I go to Amazon. Of course, the seller not on Amazon, no reviews, can't see anything. So I Google around. Sure enough, it's a thing. There's fake Rise mushroom coffee on Amazon. So I threw those 2 bags away. So I pissed away $50 because I can't return it. I went to hit return. This item, you can't return it. Awesome. So I went to Rise, the official website, and ordered 2 bags. So I am sans mushroom coffee for a few days. I think I'm gonna drink regular Dunkin' today. I have to limit my intake. So I'll drink my 2 cups of coffee today, and hopefully I can get. I did look up like I'm like, what grocery store would have like mushroom coffee? And I'm thinking Whole Foods totally would have something like that. They have like 4 stigmata or something. So maybe I'll run to Whole Foods and find something. Come on, Brian. No wonder you look tired. Yeah, I haven't had my mushroom coffee. All right, let's go to the chat. Where we at? Matty Ice, good morning. Go Cubs. How about the Cubs? Oh, wrong side. Oh, How about the Cubs? Another win. They went 8-1 on their road trip. Crushed the Nationals yesterday 14-1. Who are these Cubs? Now only 3 games out of the wild card. They're 2 games back of the Mets for 1 spot. They're 2 games behind the Mets. The Mets are the first team out currently. Thank you, Phillies, for beating the Braves last night. Helped our cause a little bit. So here we go. I don't know. I think the Cubs are back home this week. They do have they have the Dodgers and Yankees still coming up. So, and I think they go against Paul Skeens tomorrow, but they went against Paul Skeens last week. And that was the game they played when they played against Paul Skeens on the mound. The Cubs were down 10-3 in the 7th inning and came back and won 14-10. So I don't know who these Cubs are, but I like it. It's meaningful baseball in September is fun. Kind of forgot how that felt. A team that was, a few games below 500 most of the year. Now like 6 games above 500, playing good baseball. Pitching has been good. Bullpen has been good. And they're scoring runs, which is also a great thing to have. So go Cubs, go. Johnny Boy Cards, what's going on? Happy Monday. Happy Labor Day. Kevin's in the house. Good morning, Lakeland, Florida. Herman, what's happening? Good morning. Art Green, happy Labor Day. Philly Joe's in the house. Good morning. Happy Labor Day. Happy Labor Day. Good morning, Mr. Archer. Brian, good morning. Kick-ass eBay weekend and card show yesterday. Good to hear. Good to hear. Yeah, I thought I was going to have a bad eBay weekend because I was going to be out most of Saturday and Sunday wasn't really feeling up to listing and shipping and listing. So I went in expecting below average sales, and they were above average Saturday and Sunday. So, and hopefully that trend continues today. After Hobby Evolution, I'm going to get the rest of these Score a Treat cards. Also, speaking of eBay, this is why I don't sell lots at auction, because these are all Bo Jackson cards that I bought for, I think I paid like $20, 20 cents a card. So I will, I thought like maybe I'll just do a 50 card buy it now lot. And it's going to be slim margin, probably get 35 cents a card, 40 cents a card, maybe. But there's a couple rookie cards in here, a couple 87 tops in here. There's some modern football. There's Topps Gallery. So stuff that's yeah, sure. There's some 90 Donruss and 89 tops, but classic. Some of those off brands, the Topps Kids, those sell. So there's a lot of fluid liquid inventory in this lot. There's quite a few duplicates in here, but that's quite all right. I don't care about that. So the seller also had 100 card lots of Jeter and Judge and Soto. I'm glad I was bidding on all of them. I'm glad I was outbid on Juan Soto. I do have a Juan Soto lot currently on eBay, and it's not getting much action, which is surprising. Which just tells me his stuff. I'm overpriced on it. What else? The Judge, I get a certain amount on Judge. My guy pays me 20 cents a card, but I know I can sell those higher on eBay. But it went, I can't remember what the Judge lot went for, but it was above what I was willing to pay. Jeter, I get 50 cents a card from my buyer. And that was something that I think I do have a Jeter lot on eBay currently, which, again, I'm probably overpriced. And then there was somebody else. And so I was just basing it on, okay, I know with eBay, if I want to resell this on eBay, I've got to take into account fees, potential discounts that go into it. So it's a lot easier to do the math on, okay, I get 20 cents a card on these. So if I can get it for 15 cents a card, 15 cents a card, hey, that's an easy $5, that I can make. So that's kind of what I was doing. Bo Jackson was the only lot that I was the winner on. The other lots went for higher. Now, if I was the seller, I would have been disappointed. But again, I'm from a reselling standpoint, it went higher. But if I was selling them, they would have went lower than what I would have wanted. Johnny M's here. Good morning. My first grandchild was born Saturday. Congratulations. That's pretty cool. He already has Seaver, Ryan, and Wemby rookie cards. How about that? That newborn's got the best collection in the country. Brian says, I think you guys would appreciate this. Picked up a rare 1983 Andre the Giant PSA. I'm in my car, or I would tell you what it's from. Purple border, hand cut. So 83, is it the hand cut? I don't know what hand cut would have been from 83. I assume if it's hand cut, it's not the Wrestling All-Stars. That's what when you said 1983, I'm guessing Wrestling All-Stars. But hand cut, I don't know what hand cut from 83 would have been. That's pretty cool. Orlando's in the house. Good morning. John says, best approach is filling the surveys eBay sends out. John says, congrats, Johnny M. Brian is here. Pool day yesterday. Hoping for Top Golf Light today. Cheers to all you hobby friends. Sounds like a good weekend to me. John thinks deep dish is shit. T206 Kid says deep dish is a casserole. Johnny Boy Card says New York pizza is the best. Johnny M thanks, John. Broncos here. Glad you finally found an Uber. Okay, so this was a conundrum that I talked about last week. Getting an Uber from Rosemont to Wrigley, piece of cake. Getting an Uber back to Rosemont from Wrigley after a concert, which was jam-packed, Wrigley is, I think, 41,000, 42,000, somewhere around that is capacity. But with a concert, it's different. Now, there's no bleachers, but there's also field. GA is on the field. So I don't know, but there's well over 40,000 people in attendance for this show. So it's basically like a sellout plus. And there's a lot of people down in Wrigleyville because you can listen to the show from the bars. So all of the bars are packed. So it's basically like playoff. It's basically like Cubs in the playoffs with how many people are in Wrigleyville. So getting an Uber out of that is very difficult. So after the show, I go to Brick House, which is the tavern in the park. Actually, right after the concert, I went to the merch tent. The show was so awesome. Normally, I'm not a wanderer for Pearl Jam, but usually I'll get up and depending on where I'm sitting to get a beer or go to the bathroom, go to the merch tent. If a song comes on that I don't really care for, I'll go to the merch tent and or not merch tent, but there's merch places within Wrigley Field also. I didn't do any of that. My seat was the best. I would say for this concert and probably other concerts at Wrigley Field, this was the best seat in the house. So I was down the right field line. My seat was fourth row, but it was basically first row. You know how because it's not a square basically. It's kind of staggered. So my seat was basically front because I was on the aisle. So it's right up front. Now, there's also netting around the entire field. So you have to look through a net. I did not because I was on the aisle right at the entrance to get on the field for GA. So I had a clear shot, no net in front of me, clear shot of the stage and the jumbo screens on center field where the stage is. Perfect. I did not leave my seat the entire show. It's about a 3-hour set. I stood the entire time, which is and I was, and funny thing was, in one of my group chats, I was saying, I'm over 40. I need a seat. Like, I don't do GA stand all, but I stood the whole time, didn't leave my seat. I got to see Vince, the sports card ripping teacher. He hooked me up. Thank you for the pin. So it was an awesome show. After the show, I raced up to go to the bathroom because I didn't pee for 3 hours, and then to the merch tent, and I got there just in time, because then by the time I got up to the front to the merch tent, the line was. So I was able to get 4 posters. One was sold out, the one that I wanted, of course. So I got 4 posters in a t-shirt, and they also sell tubes, poster tubes. Thank God. So they're nice and safe. So then after the merch tent, it's like, there's so many people. The concert's just out. I'm going to go have a beer at Brick House, and wait this out just to see how much an Uber cost. All right. So my Uber from Rosemont, the Marriott O'Hare, to Wrigley Field was $27. Very, like, more than fair. Like that, like, oh wow, I thought it would be closer to 40. So was very happy with that. I sit down, I have my beer at Brick House. I'm like, I'll see what Uber prices are right now. The cheapest Uber was $138. $138. Whew. So I had a second beer, and I took somebody's advice, said walk toward, I think, Ashland, which is the mistake I've made in the past in trying to get Ubers, was going the other direction. Like, oh, there's going to be less people this way. Well, there's probably less Uber drivers that way also. So I walked down toward Ashland, and I stopped into a bar I've never been, Sheffield's. I've never been inside Sheffield's. So I stopped in there, had a beer, and checking Uber, and finally it got down to like $60. So, but it's also late. I had to wait till whatever time it was. So $60. Now, by comparison, the last time I took an Uber after a Cubs game, it was $50 just to go to the Irving Park. If you're familiar with Wrigley Field, the Irving Park metro station, which is just a few miles, $50. And so at that point, me and my buddy Scott had gone to a Cubs game. And so after that, he's like, I'm just going to drive. He's like, you drink as much as you want. I'll just have a couple beers and quit by the 5th inning. And that'll save us. So we do that. So $60 to get back to Rosemont, I was pretty happy with, especially because the 27 on the way there was cheap, was less than I expected to pay. And 60 honestly was a little less than I expected. So I was pretty happy with those Uber prices. Now, I did have to wait like an hour and a half. Maybe it wasn't an hour and a half, but it was probably at least an hour to get that Uber. But it was worth saving, what, $80? Yeah, $80. T206 Kid says, we went to a few places when we would go to Cubs convention with Slugger. All but one place made us all sick back in 2016, 2017, and 2018. We went to a few places when we would go to Cubs convention with Louisville Slugger. All but one place made. I've never been sick on, knock on wood, on, I don't know, were you going to pizza places or? Now it's also, here also, you're at Cubs convention. You're around a lot of people in the middle of January. It's like sick central. So I'm not surprised that you get sick after going to the Cubs convention with all those people in January. And then you go to eat, you got to make sure to wash your hands and have your, hand sanitizer, your sanitizer. So I'm not surprised you got sick. Was it the food that made you sick, or was it just being at Cubs convention around all those people in January that made you sick? Tracy's in the house. Good morning. Royals need to get it figured out after the Vinny injury. 5 straight losses. Uh-oh. John says, don't complicate pizza. It's perfect in its simplest form. But I do love the simple form of pizza, but I also love complicated pizza. I love Ian's Pizza in Madison with its mashed potatoes pizza and its all kinds of different taco pizza, one of my favorites. But I do love just a standard regular pizza. I like all pizzas. I love them all. Orlando says thin crust is my favorite. See, I don't have a favorite. I really don't. It just depends on my mood. Like the next time I have a pizza, thin crust might be my go-to. And then I might want Detroit style from Jets. I may want a gas station taco pizza. I may want deep dish. I may want pan style. I love Pizza Hut pan style. I love all pizza. I love a good pizza margarita. Love them all. Jordan says, is this the address? 17565 West North Avenue, Brookfield. Only ask because we have a Rosati's. Yeah, Rosati's is probably is. Rosati's is a chain. So they've got them in Chicago. They've got them in Milwaukee. They've got them in Madison. They're all over. Let's see. Same ownership or something? That's our local Chicago Bears spot in town. Probably, I think it's a franchise. I think you can franchise them out. So it's the same, like, I guess, ownership in terms of the corporate. It's Rosati's name, but I think they're run separately, or depending, I don't know how their franchises work, but it is a chain. It is a chain, Rosati's. Brian says, man, no wonder you look tired. John says, coffee being faked. Get it graded for authenticity. There you go. Cooter's in the house. Good morning. Sitting on the porch already feels like fall. It is chilly. It's 59 degrees right now here. The corn is no longer sweating. Brian says, wait a minute. Amazon won't give you your money back for selling you fake stuff. Apparently not. Hell no, I would raise hell. Yeah. I don't know. Who do you reach out to at Amazon? Who do you reach out to? I don't know. Because I'll go into my returns and orders screen. And so here's my order. I placed it August 20, just a week ago is when I placed this order. Organic mushroom coffee. It doesn't even say, this should have tipped me off. It doesn't even say Rise. It just says organic mushroom coffee, but it's in a Rise package. So when I click over to return or place items, it just comes up, choose items to return. This item isn't eligible for return. And it's probably, when I clicked on it, I agreed to the terms. About our returns policy, Amazon.com and most sellers on Amazon.com offer returns for items within 30 days of receipt of shipment. So this is just the return policy. So I don't know. If you know how to like override that, let me know. But I don't know who to reach out to at Amazon to be like, hey, you're selling fake shit. And that's probably why this seller is no longer. Oh, wait, I can see the name. I wonder if I type in this person's name. It's Chinese, so that should be another red flag because they're notorious for selling fake shit. Looks like I think they're still a seller. Or is this just sponsored ads? Those are just all sponsored ads. So I don't even think the seller's on Amazon anymore. Cheers, Sal Dougie. It's Craig Tember. What is Craig Tember? Oh, Craig Counsell. Craig Counsell. Is that a good thing or a bad? I think that's probably a bad thing, right? Bronco says to Sal Dougie, they probably won't get there, but wait until Bo gets to experience the disappointment of Craig Tember being followed by Craig Tober. Here we go. Let's see. Maybe it's different in Chicago. James says Topps Gallery. Let's go. Yeah, Topps Gallery. No longer a product. They chopped it. Christian says back live for the first time in weeks. Welcome back. Red Light 34 is in the house. James says Judge, Ohtani, Witt Jr., Gunner. Andre the Giant PSA. Let's go. Brian says congratulations, Johnny M. That's wonderful. John says, obviously you stand, but right field line seats are facing away from the stage. No. Facing away from, like I had a clear shot of the stage. They face home plate. So, well, but I was here. This is my, I wonder if I can, I mean, I was there, John. I know where I was facing. I was facing the stage. Let's see. Where's my Twitter? I don't know if I had any. Do I have any shots of my seat? Like the video I showed was. So here you go. Here was my. So was I like directly in line? No. But. Like that was my view. That was my view. So like you can see Eddie Vedder. There's Eddie right there. So pretty clear shot of the stage. Where are we at? Concert merch is the only thing more overpriced than cards. And it's even more, yeah. And it's similar to cards because it's overpriced at the merch tent. And then when you go on eBay, like one of the posters I sold for $115 on eBay. And I don't know what the price, $40, I think 40 or $45 were poster price. I think $40 were posters. The t-shirt was overpriced, but you had to get a concert shirt. Pro move would have been to e-bike in from the hotel. I'm possibly serious. Oh my God. After a bunch of beers at dark? No. That would have been no. Wrigley Field to Rosemont on a bike? You could do it. I wouldn't suggest it. Brian, good morning. What's going on? Cooter says, so what's the over-under on when Bo actually frames and hangs those posters? Well, never, because I've listed them all on eBay. I only have one. Let's see. I don't know if I want to take it off the wall. Oh, that was easy. So this is the only Pearl Jam poster that I've framed and put on the wall. How much is parking at Wrigley? Well, it depends. You can get $20 spots. Those are like, but you may not get out. There are typically it's like $40 to $60. The better spots are going to be 60. 40 is probably the average. Let's see. I realize you were drinking. Just curious as to the comparison. Yeah. I mean, realistically, it'd be cheaper to drive and park, but I'm not going to drink and drive. So that's not an option for me. Johnny M says, hope you tipped your Uber drivers. Trust me, they don't get much from Uber. Johnny, I'm glad you brought this up. You brought this up because I'm doing the math in my head and I don't know. And I'm curious what Uber drivers actually make on some of these trips. So my trip down from Rosemont to Wrigley was almost an hour because traffic. I mean, traffic's like at a standstill on the expressway. And obviously getting from once you get off the expressway at Irving Park and you're like, oh, we're almost there. And it's like fucking 30 minutes later because there's so much traffic and stoplights and all that. But my trip was $27. Like that was what the Uber charge was before tip. And $27. And I'm doing the math. I'm like, that's okay for an hour. Like it took an hour, $27 for an hour. Not even taking into account how long it took him to get to me or until his next pickup. So I know he doesn't get $27. So I'm like, because $27 an hour, like, yeah, it's a good wage to drive to pick somebody up and drop them off. But I know it's probably like, do you get half of the fare? 60%, 70%? And I'm like, man, plus the wear and tear on your vehicle and the gas, like how much is an Uber driver actually making? And normally, and you're like, you're the last person to be breaking this down because you sell 99-cent cards on eBay. But again, I don't know. And so now I understand why people that don't do 99-cent cards on eBay, why they would question that. Like I'm questioning the Uber, like I'm doing the math. It's like, is it worth your time? But I'm also selling baseball cards from my basement. I'm not on a schedule where I have to go pick people up, drive them around. And, I'd much rather, if all things were equal, I'm selling baseball cards instead of Ubering. So I was curious when I saw that. I'm like, damn, like this dude's not making much money on Uber. Brian says, how unmanly it is to walk with an umbrella when it's not raining, ? So my white ass won't get burnt. Had an umbrella in my rental car, and I like to walk back from the rental company. It's 3 miles. Huh. So I don't think. So here's the thing. I used to not. I don't do umbrellas. I don't think they're unmanly. Again, I'm the last person to question anyone's manlyhood. But I just choose not to use umbrellas. Because you're going to get wet. When we were in Switzerland, we were in Lucerne. I think it was Lucerne. And it was just absolutely pouring. The wettest part, and I had an umbrella, and I was soaked. Like the umbrella did nothing. It kept my head dry. It kept my hat dry. And my hat probably was wet too, because it was just raining that hard. I guess if it's a soft rain, a light rain, I guess it keeps you somewhat dry. But if it's raining sideways, like what's an umbrella do? Not much. So I typically don't use an umbrella. Is it unmanly to use an umbrella? No, of course not. Zach's in the house. What's going on? Good morning. And everyone from the home of the 1-0 Georgia Bulldogs. There you go. Rob's in the house. He says, go Dogs. James says, the best pizza is in San Francisco, home of the 13-time world pizza champion. That sounds good. Art says, Detroit-style pizza is the best. C&M Collectibles says, has a question. Is Car Dealer Pro working for anyone else? Can't get it to identify anything at the moment. I may find out in a little bit, but I haven't used it in a few days. It seems like Car Dealer Pro, when it does go down, it's on a holiday. I don't know what that is. T206 Kid says, food did make us sick. Was the next morning we had 2 unable to sit up at our booth, and the rest of us felt like we had bricks in our stomachs. Yikes. What did you eat? James says, food does make a lot of people sick. Cooter says, Mrs. Cooter has Tuck Tech folding kayaks. She just showed me the folding coffee they came up with and are doing a Kickstarter on. Very interesting. Check it out. Folding coffee? All right, I'm curious now. Tuck Tech. Tuck Tech. Folding kayaks. That's interesting. So it could like fit in the back of your car. Coffee? Tuck Tech folding coffee. Get ready to blow your mind with fresh brewed coffee for the outdoor adventure. Introducing Tuck Tech folding coffee. Now you can make hot, fresh brewed coffee in the wilderness without any equipment. Whoa. It's not yucky instant either. How does it work? It's a small cardboard pouch pre-filled with 8 ounces of water, a coffee, tea bag, creamer, and sugar. You press the bottom to activate the mini MRE style self-heater, a non-toxic, safe, flawless device. Rip off the top of the pouch and pop out into a cool coffee mug. Water will self-heat in about 3 minutes. And then brew your coffee. Ready to steep your fresh brewed coffee. It's like the tea bag. It's a coffee bag. Hot coffee that tastes just like you made it at home. Well, that's interesting. Well, thank you, Cooter. T206 Kid says Lou Malnati's was the only one that didn't make us sick. I won't say the ones that did. Well, there's only a few. There's Giordano's. That's probably, if you're a Cubs convention, you're probably, Giordano's was one of them. Let's see. What else? Oh my God. The other, Giordano's and Lou Malnati's are typically my go-to. Giordano's is my go-to at Cubs convention. Deep dish Chicago pizza. I'm trying. Not Uno. Giordano's has Pequod's. I've never had Pequod's. Pizzeria Oro. No, that's not the one I'm thinking. There's like there's three that I think of when I think Chicago deep dish. It's Malnati's, Giordano's, and of course I can't think of the third one. Oh, shit. Uno. Is it Uno? Geno's. Geno's is the other one I'm thinking. Geno's. So those are the ones I think of. John says Amazon allows you to return. They ask minimal questions. Who do I reach out to? There you go. Reach out to Bezos. Sure, he will answer your coffee concerns. What's up, Dan? John says, oh shit. I've never run into not being able to return on Amazon. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know. Here, I'll show you here's what it looks like. It's, if you've never seen it, return or replace items. Oh, I got to add to the stage. So that's what it looked like. Organic mushroom coffee. This item isn't eligible for return. So that's what I get on my screen. And I can't leave a review either. I can't leave a review because when I click on it, it's not there. Wonder if I hit the back button. View your item. Write a product review. We can't find the product you were looking for, so I can't even review it because it's not there. Wah, wah. James says this item is non-returnable due to potential safety risk as an ingestible product. But if the item arrives damaged or defective, you may request a refund or replacement. Brian says, I'm with you. All pizza is great. John says, my bad on the seating. Vedder sounded like an old grandfather telling stories about the Cubs and Walter Payton. Oh, man. Eddie Vedder is such a great storyteller. Those videos are up on my YouTube channel. Great storyteller. So yeah, if you haven't seen the Walter Payton story is just, man, it's just like, just an awesome story. Uber. Yeah. Google how to return counterfeit Amazon goods. That's actually a good idea. Mikey's in the house. He just woke up sleeping in. James says Uber drivers and vomit in their cars after drunk passengers. Yeah. And there's probably, like, I know taxis, like there's a $50 like vomit charge. If you vomit in a taxi, you get charged $50. I don't know if Uber has that or not. Terry, good morning. Johnny M says, your driver probably got $8 from Uber. I would never drive those events or airport runs. Not worth it. Holy are you kidding me? $8? Plus, like, and that doesn't include gas. Like, we won't even talk about wear and tear because that's just kind of like, it's not I mean, I'm sure it's quantifiable at some point, but on one trip, we won't quantify it. But gas, you can, like, minus $1. I don't know what. It was only like 9 or 10 miles, but we're also going like an average of 7 miles per hour, probably. Jordan says, seems smart, Brian. Johnny says, I average $20 an hour in New York, 60 miles north of NYC. Average the same with food delivery and no people to deal with. There you go. Dan says, summer has been pretty hot here and humid. I've used the umbrella to block the sun. Otherwise, I was sweating like a pig when I got to work or home. Uno. Yeah, Uno's one. Sbarro. Come on, John. Pequods. Yeah, Pequods. Oh, by the way, Card Safari. So Friday or Saturday, I said, hey, I got the Al Spangler. Thank you. So when I said that, I had not opened the package. I knew what I ordered. So thank you. Card Safari added a bonus card. Thank you for the Don Kessinger. I felt bad when I opened it. I'm like, oh my God, I told him that I got the package and I thanked him for the package, but I didn't open the package. Oh my God, now he's going to think I'm an asshole for ignoring the bonus card. So I did receive the bonus card. Thank you very much. The All-Star Don Kessinger from 69 Top signed. Beautiful card. Thank you again. Tombstone, there you go. Tombstone doesn't make deep dish, though. Geno's was the third I was thinking of. Thank you. John says, is it enjoyable watching a concert through an iPhone? Yes. So I only videoed, I think I videoed one song, maybe two songs. And then I tried to video each of Eddie Vedder's talking. And yes, it was enjoyable because now I can go back and watch it again because maybe I didn't remember all of it because I have terrible memory and I had some beers. So did I enjoy watching the concert through an iPhone? Fucking yes, I did. Yes, I did. $50 ain't enough to cover a vomit situation. I know. Like if you were to pay me $50 to clean up vomit, I'm like, keep your $50 and do it yourself. I'm not cleaning that for $50. No. Brian says, I can see Koreans using umbrellas and British people and P. Diddy, but dudes, I feel weird. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think, like, if I see a dude walking down the street with an umbrella, I'm not going to be like, oh, look at that pansy staying dry, although he's still getting wet because umbrellas really don't work. They work to an extent. But am I going to call you a pansy? No. Orlando says, Peyton's story was awesome. I reposted on my channel, and Peyton's son shows up. Yeah, Jarrett Peyton. And that was the first, well, they had met previous that was the first day they met. They met before the concert, but that was Jarrett Payton's first meeting of Eddie Vedder. And so Eddie was wearing the number, and I think he said it in the video. I know he did. He was wearing jersey number 34 because it's the 34th year that Pearl Jam's been together. So nice little kismet there. James says, now you're making me hungry for pizza. I know it's only 9 o'clock. Unless you're on the East Coast, it might be 10 o'clock. So it's a little closer to pizza time. So that's what I had for today. Hey, hit up my eBay store, 99centcards.com. Buy 7 or more items at regular price. You'll save 25% off at checkout. My auctions are ending tomorrow night, Tuesday night auctions. I do have a batch of baseball that I'll be putting up. In fact, I'll be I will be curating. Curating is the word I'm looking for. I was going to say collating. It's like, well, I'm not really collating. Curating the next batch of auctions, Tuesday night auctions in my eBay store, 99centcards.com. This week's auctions ending tomorrow night. We've got non-sports and other sports. And what I mean by other sports, basically non football, basketball, baseball. There's hockey, there's soccer, there's boxing, there's MMA, there's NASCAR. So non-sports, other sports. Auctions ending tomorrow night. I'll go live at 7 p.m. Central Tuesday night. We'll count down this week's auctions, and then as we count those down, new auctions will be appearing in my eBay store, and they will be baseball. So get ready for that. John says, did anyone accidentally call Eddie Vedder daughter? No, I don't think so. Clearly warns us not to. So great show. It was an awesome show, as expected, as it always is. Great Pearl Jam show. My wife was disappointed. She's like, well, maybe next year. It's like, well, that's what we say in Chicago. Maybe next year. So I'd love to, we've been trying to do a Europe trip and kind of base it around a Pearl Jam show in Europe. COVID kind of fucked plans up for a couple of years. This year, we had to go in July. Pearl Jam's Europe tour was in like May. And 2 years ago, we ended up not go. We were doing the house, so we didn't take a Europe. Well, my wife did. We did. My wife and mother-in-law took a Europe trip 2 years ago. So maybe next year we can match up a Europe tour and our Europe trip. James says Pearl Jam and Green Day. Alrighty, so hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, visit my eBay store, 99centcards.com. Have a wonderful Labor Day. Enjoy any parties you're going to, enjoy any pizza you may have, and enjoy working on eBay, which is what I'm going to be doing. So I will be adding some stuff to eBay today. I'll be shipping out. So check it out, 99centcards.com. Don't forget those auctions end Tuesday night. I'll go live tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central. I'll also go live tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central, back to the work grind tomorrow morning at 7 for Hobby Evolution. See you then.